So we're good. I think we're good. I think we're ready to go. All righty. Well, welcome to Therapy Thursday. I am Joyce Johnson, author, speaker, sales champion, coach, and founder of Wise Sales Network. I got to get excited sometimes. I say Wise Sales
Hi,
Network. Got to get a
Joy.
little rhythm in there. So, but anyway, today, Thursday Therapy, you guys know or may not know that I've been writing my book, No Back Doors for Me. And as I was going through my coursework at Cornell University for my diversity and inclusion certificate, I began to realize I experienced some trauma in my little life going through corporate as an African American and as an African American woman, being the only person in the room many times, and that looks like me. And I just felt like I needed some therapy. So my team said, "Hey, why don't we create Thursday therapy?" So I was like, "Okay." And so here we
Great
are
idea.
now with Thursday Therapy. And my co-host for today, I've done something to my phone here on the Instagram piece, but my co-host for today is a longtime dear friend of mine, Miss Hardette Harris, Chef Hardette Harris. Let me get it right, Chef Hardette Harris. Hardette, introduce yourself to our audience.
I am Hardette Harris, Chef Hardette to some, and I lived in Houston for many, many years, where Joyce was my dear friend and still is. And it's been a long time. I never realized that, we were almost kids back then. And
Right?
now I'm in Louisiana. Yeah, I'm in Louisiana. I work as a chef. I have my own restaurant slash kitchen, and I celebrate North Louisiana cuisine and do a little personal chefing here on the side, pivoting as we all are. But
Y'all are.
I'm so glad to be here with Joyce today so we can go back in time and discuss some of that trauma she speaks about.
We talk about the trauma too, but also there was just a lot of fun, right? A lot
It
of
was.
fun that we had.
That's so
So,
true. I don't think we
like I
realized
said,
there was.
yeah, I don't think we realized all of the sometimes all of the bad things was happening around us because we just had I posted today that Ashton Tate, who was our meditation guy for Meet the Recruiter last week, that in his five cornerstones for good health, he talked about relationships and importance of relationships and having you surrounding yourself with relationships and people that were really, that's in your corner, right? And we
Mhm.
had that. We had that. We had just a group of friends. We just lost one. We talked about that. We lost Rufus, who was the mascot for one of the organizations that I worked for. And he was just, if you're talking about keeping you laughing, oh my goodness. And I just think we just had so much joy.
We
We did.
did.
And
We
at
did.
that time in our young lives, right?
Yeah, we would. It was just like instant. We didn't have to become friends. It seemed like it just worked right off, and it's always stuck, over the years. And even with Rufus, I miss him, and he just kind of came right in, and it's really sad to lose him.
Yeah. He came right in and he just fit tight in our little network that we had going on, right? And
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah, he did.
you know, I can remember us doing all our little happy hours that we went to.
A
I
lot of
posted that one of us was not quite drinking age, and I don't even know how we figured it out. I think we figured it out one night. We were going to a club or something, and we always had an in. And for some reason, we didn't have an in that night or something, or the right person wasn't at the door.
I think
Is
I
that
don't
what
remember the
happened?
first time. It happened so many times. I remember we just kind of worked it out until I had a birthday and we got in.
So you had a birthday, yeah. We always got in though.
I
No
know, and I
woman
feel
left
so
behind.
bad now. I feel bad
No woman left behind.
about lying, but I did it. Yeah, I did it so easily back then, and I needed to get in that club.
You needed to get in that club, we needed to get in that club. And so, but as we talked about, relationships is so important. And my big mama used to tell me, she said, you're really blessed if you have one or two good friends in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful that in each part of my journey in my life, God has put someone in my life that was a true friend to me. And I'm grateful to you for our friendship. You're embedded in my family. I'm embedded in your family. Your mom, my Sarah, she will inbox me in a minute.
She's the Facebook queen. She's gonna check on everybody.
And she is the Facebook queen, and she, just love her to death. Love her, love your dad, and all his old Ricky Smiley jokes.
Oh yeah, they're great people. I'm very blessed, very 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 blessed.
Yeah, we are in that sense, and and then our families love us. My family loves her dad, her family loves me, and so I just think that's the best of relationships. And even when I left, I moved to California, I moved to Miami. We always stayed in contact. You moved to San Antonio, I come back here,
Right.
do you leave me? And and so,
Yeah,
but
I know. Yeah.
so when we met, we were at this big arena. I went there to work for a professional sports team. You were working for the arena side of the business. And although we had a lot of fun, in ourselves and built our own relationships, it wasn't without some challenges, right? And
Absolutely.
I put a post up for this week that about when I got slapped. And I'm like, that this person actually had the audacity to slap me, right? And then when I thought about it, I said, she really slapped me more than one time, because I had to like come to. I had to like think, did I just get slapped? Did she just slap me? I mean, it was just such a shock, And it's like when I write in my book, things just didn't go 0 to 100, that day. Obviously, she had some
Right.
buildup, and you know, that I didn't know it was that intense. And like I said, a lot of times it's really more about what people have going on in their life, because I think, we all run do she had some personal things going on in her life.
Mhm.
And but the fact that she felt she can raise comfortable or whatever, raising her hand to slap me. It was I when I think
Yeah.
about it, I'm just like, what nerve?
I
What
I
nerve?
think about it the exact same way. Looking back on it, what did she expect you to do? Like, when you slap somebody, was that just something you do so easily and expect the person to be slapped and do nothing? And I think
Right.
that's the thought process. I think back then it was just, let me just slap her and get her in line. She's out of line, so I'll slap her.
Hmm.
And where that thought process comes from is the stomach churning part of this.
Yeah.
It just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just I can't imagine slapping somebody because I'm
Right.
frustrated with them, and
Yeah.
that's just it. I have that right to slap somebody. I just can't even
And
get
in the
over it.
workplace,
Not even
you know,
outside, right there in the office.
yes. And,
That's
and
privilege.
then, yeah, and then at the end of it, I'm the one that's punished, right? Lose my job behind it, because of course, everyone there was family. She wasn't, but she was the keeper of all their secrets. I was thinking when I was writing this book, if social media was relevant then, OMG, because what they didn't realize, I was the keeper of some of those secrets as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I kept
Absolutely.
I kept quite a few secrets myself. And so it was just like, and then I'm the one punished for it. None of the leaders were in the office that day. It was me, her, and the receptionist. And so I just ended up leaving, and saying, let me just call them. And,
There's no
I
way you
remember
could have
rushing
stayed.
out. What's that?
I don't even know how you could have stayed. And like you say, social media now, you if somebody would have recorded it, or you could have recorded the aftermath of it, you might have had some
Hmm.
backup. But back then,
Yeah.
even the president of the company came to me and said, and like they were shocked. But if she slapped you, she should have been the one escorted out.
Right. And there wasn't anyone there to escort anyone at that time in the
Right.
evening and the day. It was a big event that wasn't one of our events, a big event going on. And I just remember walking in the hallway and seeing my mentor, Barbie from Magic, and I was so shaken. She was like, she immediately said, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm telling her what's happening and what happened and what have you. And she said, okay, just she's like, well, who's here? And I was like, no one's here. And she said, go home and call, in the mornings. That we didn't have cell phones and texting then. We telling our age. Oh my gosh. But
Not even a little cell phone back then.
we didn't
That's a
even
long
have the
time.
big cell phones.
Before that, yeah.
Somebody had them. We didn't have them. They weren't, plentiful. And but anyway,
Right.
so I went home that next day and I called and I'm like, what do I do? Do I come in office? Whatever. And it was just kind of like a no. And it was just like you're done type of thing. And I can just recall working so hard and working the early mornings, the late nights, you know, anyone who works in the sports industry know game night
You did work
days
late.
are, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm,
I worked
mm-hmm.
late. So,
Yeah.
game nights are really long. Game days are really long. You don't get to come in later because there's a game. No, you get to
Right.
come in at the same time and work all night until that game is over and you've
Mm-hmm.
entertained every sponsor and player family member and agent and what have you. And then when they
Right.
leave, you can, so
Make the
I remember I did get to have some great seats, but I never really made it to my seats before like that after halftime. Seemed like after halftime was when I got to actually,
right.
and today when I go to a game, I I kind of mingle around and I don't even really watch a lot of games until after halftime. And I think that's just because I always had to work. Even in college when I worked in
Yes, I
sports
feel the same
information.
way. It takes me back to it feels like work. Even this many years later, if I go to a sporting event, it feels like I'm at work back then.
Yes.
I still can't look at it as a yay spectator.
Right. And because you had to, you worked on the arena side of the business. And I know that you even had challenges on that side of the business. Why don't you share a couple of those?
Well, it was, what people don't realize a lot of times is how much of this happens in our lives. You have that situation to speak of, but there are countless others. And so one of the ones that you're speaking of was, but bottom line, the classic case of I'm training people that are coming in brand new and they're getting a position that I applied for, and not me never moving up and not getting a raise and having to, take action for that because, you know, it is, I think so. It was so, they did it so easily that they don't even think that it's wrong. And the biggest thing is, I don't think that they think you're going to respond. I think they think you're just going to
Right.
kind of walk off and shrug your shoulder and kind of say a few curse words under your breath and just take it, which is what people have done for years on jobs like this when they're done wrong. I see people now working 20, 30 years in the same low wage positions. And I think it's because of that. And I think that's why they think they can do it, because we can
Yeah.
just mistreat you. And then I think it was a kind of a shock when I took action and spoke up.
Hmm. Yeah, because they have been doing it for so many
So,
years. And then all of a sudden now you're like, enough is enough. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to talk about the injustice that's happening with me. And I also think,
Yeah.
they're so um, arrogant in the fact that, oh, well, nothing's going to happen. And you're right about people not taking action and moving on. And I think people just feel like, oh, I need a job and I need to work and provide for my family. And I also
And they
think
know
that,
that.
and they know that. And I think in some cases, um, and I took action as well. And I try to mention some of those things like EOC and rebuttals and things like that in my book that people can do. Because sometimes people just don't know, and you don't know what you don't know, right? I would have not known
Mhm.
anything about a rebuttal, my mother not known about it, right? And I think that sometimes people don't have the
Yes.
family dynamic that we've been blessed to have, and to have that support and to have people that had, who did push back, who said, no,
That's right.
not today. You're not going to treat me like this. Right.
Mhm, mhm.
And
And
so
I
I think
encounter
sometimes
some,
they just think it's going to take it.
yeah, exactly. I encounter some of that now, late 40s. I'm in my early 50s now. I don't have any problem saying that. That I'm so comfortable with speaking my truth about whatever it is. No, I don't want to take a train ride. No, I don't want a corn on the cob. Because so many people don't feel they can speak their truth. And so people are shocked when you own your voice. You use your voice.
Yes.
And my thing is that they need to learn to use theirs, so they're not so taken aback.
Right. And I think, that a lot of things that we endured, and then the way that we did protect ourselves, we stood up for ourselves. Rather, it was, I know in your case, it was like it worked out possibly because you did it while you were still working for them. And
Mhm,
so
mhm.
when you filed while you were
Ab
still working for them, then that's like, oh, okay, we can't really do anything to fire her or do anything now because she's working for us and we're under investigation. And mine was kind of like, okay, I'm out the door. And I didn't do anything about it when I was there. I was just kind of like, you know, I'm always of the note that I have a plan for my life and every part of my life. And I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna, party hard, but I'm gonna work hard. And I'm
and
going
that's the
to
thing. I
yeah.
admire that about.
And,
Mhm.
and I'm like, why I belong wherever I am. Wherever you didn't put me here, God put me here. My journey put me here. This was my universe. It was meant for me to be here. So why do I have to leave, or why do I have to allow your actions to force me out of where I want to be?
Right, right.
That's
Absolutely.
my thought
And you know what?
process.
Yes, and that is so true. And I can say with my situation, because going back to them being shocked, but I can say I do know that the shock brought on respect, that you're speaking up for yourself. And that's why
Mhm.
they really did try to work it out and work through it. They didn't mistreat me. And I just think it was, I'm glad she did that. This kind of opens our, going back to saying people have just shrugged their shoulders and done nothing. But I will say that I know that there was a level of respect that I received after doing that. And so it pays off
And that's
to
great.
to action. Because
That's great
that's the
because
the fear.
what
No,
that
I
says
was
is
saying
that
that go ahead.
no, I was just saying that I love the fact you said you did that they begin to respect you and things in that space, because what that means is that we talk about it all the time, unconscious biases, right? That
Right.
sometimes people are unconsciously just doing things because that's the way they've done it and they haven't really looked at it or really assessed what they've done. But then, the beautiful part of it is when it is to know better is to do better. So when they were called on the table, they were like, we're happy this happened. This is not who we
Mhm.
want to be. We
Absolutely.
because I know that they, this is not who we want to be, and that they did better.
Absolutely. And that's why I have, a Facebook friendship with some of them. A lot of them now, we're friendly. There's no animosity because I think I just gained a lot of respect for, back then, whatever age we were, you're fearless,
Yes.
and you think this is wrong, so you act. And that I just look back and say how young that I was to do that. And, like you were saying, like my mom always said, speak up for yourself, use your voice, so don't be a
Use
dumb
your
bunny, she
voice.
used to say.
I love that you're saying it. We need to
Yeah.
hashtag that, like, person that use your voice, it's so important to use your voice. And, people are going to get upset about you using your voice sometimes because it makes them uncomfortable. But we have to make people uncomfortable in order to make people do things the right way. And to,
Right.
like you said, to gain that respect and things that we should have, that, we showed up to work, we
Hmm.
worked hard, we did a great job, we provided input to make the jobs easier and better and funner and things like that. Even at that young age, I can remember you telling me, oh, I got an idea to do this for work, and then,
Yeah.
and I'm just always trying to, create something. So,
Yeah,
and
and your brain is so free and fresh back then, and so you should take advantage of that.
yeah. You hear me there. Hopefully, the young people that are listening in, because I am on the Instagram as well. And for those you joining us, this is Thursday Therapy with Joyce Johnson. And I have, we're talking about my book, No Back Doors for Me, and the fact that really, I was saying in the book, the irony of this is that I feel like I've been having to kick down back doors, or at least treat it like I was at the back door, most of my corporate life. And there were some good parts of the journey that I'm going to talk about in the book as well. And like, my co-host Chef Hardette Harris just said, sometimes people unconsciously do things. And if you don't use your voice and if you don't tell them that is that about what they're doing and how it makes you feel, then they don't know to do anything different. And then there's still some of those
Right.
people that's still going to be how they know. And then at least you
Yeah,
know who they are.
that's right. And I think they remain who they are because they don't know where to go after being, approached with a different side of something. They're not used to being, corrected. And I think even if they want to change, they just don't know which road to take, how to do this. So I encourage the young listeners to always, research your position, know what you're talking about, and then approach,
Yes.
the adversary and make sure you have to let them know. It's not always about confrontation. It's not always about having your way. But
Right.
if you're
Yeah.
on a job and you really cherish that job and want to move up, you need to be heard.
Absolutely. You need to be heard. If you want to be where you are, like I said, I've always felt, maybe I endured some things that I could have avoided, but I'm always like, I like being here. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my customers. I
Mhm.
enjoy the people I'm mentoring. Why do I have to exit the business? Because you have a problem with the color of my skin or the fact that I'm a woman or whatever your issue is that day, whether it's my education, my training, whatever your issue is, you have a problem. That's, like I saw a post, I see it quite a bit. It says, what people think about me is not my problem.
Yeah.
You know,
And
what you
I
think
tell
about me
people
is not my problem.
yeah, it's not an easy journey to use your voice along the way. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose a lot of people, but don't waste this journey with things left unsaid. It doesn't mean you're telling people off every day. It means if there's something that needs to be said and it's your truth, you need to make it known because life is too short. You got one shot at this thing, and there's no need in not living in your truth. I just can't stop saying that. That's just you gotta be,
Yeah.
no matter what failures, hard times come, you gotta be truthful in it. Own your own space, and it'll
Yes.
help you.
Have to own your own space. And you know, it never feels great to be mistreated. And like you say, it's not, you know, and let's talk about that piece. You said it's not an argument where I'm not trying to tell you off, but so often when, as African Americans and as African American woman, when I get ready to tell people or share with them, and I have this strategy that I kind of tell people, I want to give people a heads up, right? Because a lot of times people try to blindside me, and I don't want to do that to people. I want to give you a heads up. Let's have lunch on this day, this time, or let's have a call on this day, this time. And I want to talk about XYZ, right? And then they come like with weapons, like, you know, machine guns. And it's like, I'm just trying to share and have this conversation so we know better, we do better, we figure out how we
Well,
best
no,
can work with each other. But because this, you know, because I'm so scary, you know, this African American woman, I've always been so scary. People always tell me how scary I am. So I, since I'm so scary, um, that conversation, oh, she's being aggressive, oh, she's being combative and things. No, I'm not. It should be okay. You share
yeah.
what you think about me all the time in a not so nice way. Why can I not share back that I'd like to be treated or a certain way, or I think that we could do something different?
What I learned is some people are so used to volatile lives, chaos in their lives, they don't know not to bring the weapons. So I have to recognize that too, that I'm dealing with an individual, and that individual comes with, you know, things that they've experienced. Just when I sit down at that table, as you speak of for lunch, that other person, I'm bringing things and they're bringing things too.
Yes.
They're used to chaos and conflict, and you have to recognize and let them know that's not where I am. And sometimes they don't see it. That's the only way they can speak with you, is confrontation. Even though sometimes it can be subtle, it's there. And
Yes.
you can either, you know what I mean? You can either learn to deal with it with that person and, you know, try to work around it if you really need to work with them, you know, have a relationship with them. But if it makes you feel bad, you can't do it, because it's not going to go away during lunch. That's the baggage they carry.
Right. That is so true, you know, because some people do have very toxic home environments, right? And then, you know, they think they can come to the workplace and beat up on other people and release that. And it's very hard. People say don't bring your personal life to work. That's it's hard. It's just hard to do it. You can, you know, I say game face. You can get up more, put your game face on, you know, and things like that, and do meditation and then keep your mind. But you know, if there is, you know, we got to still work through those things. So we still have to be professional and
Yeah.
respectful to other people in the workplace. So, you
Right.
know, tell our audience just a little bit about us up north. You know, we were almost at our time, but I want them to hear about us up north.
So I lived in Texas and Houston and San Antonio for many years. And as I would travel back home, I would notice over the years that South Louisiana was taking over North Louisiana cuisine, and we were letting it, and we were allowing that as if we didn't have our own food. So in 2013, I moved back here to be closer to my aging parents. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I wanted to do something to celebrate North Louisiana cuisine. And so I just said, I'm gonna sell tickets, and have dinners. Okay, people come. That's all I knew. So I did one dinner, and I said, I'm going to keep doing this. And so I started researching what was going to be on the menu. What are the things we push here? And there was nothing. So I sat down and wrote. I just was thinking a little pamphlet or flyer or something, just to say, refer to this when you're having your union or convention or festival, whatever, and let's start cooking these foods that we eat naturally here. That's traditionally what
Yeah,
we eat here.
I like
And
that perch fish.
2015, yeah. So in 2015, I gave that list to my Representative Gene Reynolds. He read it before the 2015 during the 2015 legislative session. And they voted on it 33 yays to 0 nays. And it became House Concurrent Resolution number 88, the official meal of North Louisiana. And I promise I was not thinking anything that big. And there's only 2 official state meals in the United States, and that's Oklahoma and the one I wrote. And an official state meal sounds like something that every state would make. So to answer your question, Us Up North came from that. It came from me living in Texas, and I would go home and I'd go back and people would say, "How's New Orleans?" And I said, "I didn't go to New Orleans." And I say, "What about us up north? We're up here, we exist." And so from that official meal, became a book deal. 2017 Louisiana of the Year, 2017's Best Small Town Chef of the Year, and many other local tourism awards. And I'm really just the cheerleader of this. We need to start eating the food that we eat traditionally here. We have freshwater fish here. We aren't near the coast, so we don't have a lot of seafood. We have lots of pecans and peaches and a lot of it's rural areas, so there's a lot of produce and vegetables that it's just natural here. And so we need to start being proud of that. And the way New Orleans, you can put out a bowl of red beans and rice and call it red beans and rice without any fancy name. We should be able to do that with our purple hull peas, purple hull peas and cornbread. And it's going to take us to be proud of that.
Purple hull peas just and cornbread.
Down south.
Yes.
And cornbread. So that's what I do. I do that now. I have a kitchen, and I do culinary experiences, and still trying to find my way because it came so fast. But that's what Us Up North is. A celebration.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations. I, follow the journey. I see everything. I'm so proud of you. I'm like, my friends and all my friends in Houston, everyone asks about you all the time. My sorors and things. They still remember that dish you made for one of our sorority reunions. I think it was like homecoming, and you did a pasta dish for us. And everyone loves that pasta dish you used to do. And yeah, so you had the pasta dish for us. We all got together at a suite. They still talk about that. Yeah, everyone still talks about that.
I remember now, that was fettuccine Alfredo with sausage in it. I haven't made that in years. Thanks for that reminder.
Put it back on the menu. Well, that's probably your Texas menu now, not your Louisiana menu. But, we have to wrap up now. We're at our time. But thank you, Hardette, for being my co-host today. Thank you, guys, on all the social channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, for tuning in for Thursday Therapy. I am Joyce Johnson. Go to our website. I want to say first, go to my website. I am Joyce Johnson. We are pre-selling copies of No Back Doors for Me. We also have a package where you can get the book, the t-shirt, and a journal, because I'm going to put together a journal for this that goes with this book, because like I said, when I began to think about this, I felt like I needed therapy, and I want to give you something to be able to write and to reflect on and be able to heal, because this piece of series here is a healing process for me. And so I'm grateful for all my friends who've come on here and still a part of this journey with me. Again, I am JoyceJohnson.com. Go visit, pre-order your book and your journal. Again, this has been Thursday Therapy. I am Joyce Johnson, author, speaker, sales champion, coach, and founder of Wise Sales Network. Make it a great day. Thank you, Hardette. I'm trying to figure out how now to stop my my Instagram. Thanks, everyone on Instagram. I appreciate you.